getting dark in here. Right. That was it, I think. Other than what bugs have you had so far? And I had a couple of bugs to do with, which came from Jetpack. So I deactivated Jetpack and the bugs haven't happened anymore. So I'll raise those things. And we had a bug during installation. And we
the ones that you had with Jetpack, what did you have? Because I'm sure that's what caused the problem I had.
Those ones there.
Okay.
Fatal error.
Yes, that's what I had. So
was visiting that. I was trying to do an update and I got a fatal error doing that. I haven't had a look to see, but trying to allocate however many bytes that is quite a lot, isn't it? Anyone? I managed to put commas in there to work out how many. Is that 70 billion?
It's 805 megabytes.
Yeah, but how much did it try? That's how much it's exhausted. But how much was it trying to allocate?
7 gigs.
Yeah, that's quite a lot, isn't it? For a Gravatar. Right, so we've had some problems with the widgets, which I didn't understand, and now I'm going to have to go and reproduce them. But of course, we've got a video demonstrating them, so that's nice. And anyone else want to report anything that they've had? No. So here are a couple of links from WordPressorg itself, which is going to read all about the new version of WordPress 5.8 Tatum, and there's something from WP Tavern which also covered new emoji support, which we missed, and therefore there might be a few other different things. And then Steve and Andrew both forwarded me this video about how to, what was it, Steve? Test the performance.
One about I did one about is it WordFence introduction to 5.8.
Right.
Can I just say I've done a WebP, and the image before was a JPEG, 2,869 kilobytes, and then it went down to 791. So what's that? That's about a fourth of the size.
I did some experiments a while ago, and I actually used in WebP. It actually got bigger, so it's true. It would depend on the actual image you're trying to convert.
I agree with you, because when I had a smaller sized image, which is more typical of what I've got on the internet, the JPEG was 70 kilobytes, but the WebP was 84. So it may be that WebP is designed to make very large images smaller, but it doesn't work so well on small images.
It's down to content. If it's a lot of plain colour, then it may work quite well, but if it's the opposite end...
It was the same image. It was exactly the same image, it's just I'd resized it.
Oh.
So I think it's to do with size. So my conclusion is, if you've got small sized images already, don't bother with it.
I put a link in the chat for WebP, a plugin add-on to Photoshop.
Right. Thank you.
Yeah, I did the same thing a little while before. If you look in the chat.
Was it the same one?
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, luckily it is the same one, yes.
4 minutes before you.
Well, that's because you're...
I've also downloaded it and installed it, and it works in Photoshop Elements. So
I've got it. I installed it on WordPress, Photoshop. Sorry.
I don't have that. But now I've decided it's no good anyway, so.
Right, what am I currently sharing?
The PowerPoint.
Yourself, I think.
Well, I'm supposed to be sharing something. So that's the end of that then. Time to do a little bit of...
Before we move on, just to say, if anybody wants to come and help with the social media promotions and research about what's being said about 5.8, of all the benefits that we could help people understand more and help other meetups, then please do come into the marketing channel on Make WordPress. If you're not sure where that is and you're in the Pompey channel, then just reach out to Olga or myself and we'll happily share that with you. Also, if you think that you would like to be involved with the next point release, which will be 5.8.1, which we will start discussing in about 7 minutes on Dev Chat in Core, then come along to Dev Chat and find out what's involved. It's also a great way to shadow if you want to be involved with 5.9. So back to you, Herb, and we also need to talk about WordFest because we're a community partner.
we should do, yes. So from current slide, quickly.
Can I just say, I know I'm probably not supposed to say this, but everything that I see about this block editor and 5.8 looks horrendously complicated.
You're allowed to
I'm
say
sure that Herb likes it because he likes complicated things and
well,
it's a good thing.
But Andrew, that's why we need you to come and help work with us on the marketing.
Yeah, I think you're on completely the wrong track, and this will only appeal to people like her. I don't think the ordinary person or people who just want to build websites.
Was it complicated?
Completely dumbfounded by this.
I just used the mouse most of the time, Andrew. I used the mouse. I dragged and dropped. I typed a little bit. I changed colours by sliding a thing around over a colour palette rather than typing in a RGB or a hexadecimal code. And I didn't write any HTML ever. What was complicated about that?
Well, this is my observation, and I'd be happy if other people joined in. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I can be wrong. This is what it looks to me like, horrendously complicated. And when you demonstrate it, it looks like it's all going wrong anyway, or you don't know exactly what you're doing. And I sort of think, right.
We do admit that there are things that could be improved because people are having problems, but until they're reported by everybody and not just by pedants and people who are particularly finicky.
I think the concept's misguided. The actual concept is misguided, not the detail, the things that go wrong. I think it's incredibly difficult to get to understand it, and you have to really put a lot of time and effort into it. So I'll be interested to hear from other people whether anyone's actually using it or whether anyone likes it or anything like that. I might be completely barking up the wrong tree.
No, Andrew, what's been really valuable though is that and from what Herb said as well, is that Herb's just shared that he didn't write any code, and all things were drag and drop. So maybe, and that's where we all come in. It's not in the complex bit. It's about how do we help people who are not coders actually use some of these features. So maybe with help from people like yourself, we can help explain that in easy to understand terms, and that's what the marketing team job is now. It's not the complex stuff for developers. It's the things that basically that Herb just said about how you can do the drag and drop, how you can change all these things without needing to have any code.
Herb spends about 8 hours a day, 7 days a week on WordPress and digging in the back of it and digging in the front of it and turn it inside out, and it's all very good. But he's in a very small minority of people who wants to do this and who knows how to do this. I do not believe that he can do what he's saying without the vast amount of knowledge that he has built up. And I think for ordinary people who don't have that, they will find all this incredibly bizarre and confusing and difficult to get to grips with.
But it's like...
It'll be interesting to see how many people, existing users, first thing they do is install the Classic editor, who won't go anywhere near the block editor.
Or for the widgets.
Anecdotally, I can say some clients that I deal with don't go anywhere near the Classic editor anymore. So the block editor really has become part of the WordPress usage now, especially people who are setting up a website for the first time.
And also we've got full site editing coming, and that will be a huge game changer when it's here. So because the people who don't spend all day in it and who don't know it backwards, it will be so much easier. The block editor has come on leaps and bounds, and there's still, as you know, we've all said, there are still issues. There are still things that don't quite work in the way that we might want them to, or as intuitively. But I know I've said it before, but it really does matter. The more we can help other people access and WordPress in the easiest way possible, then the more it will develop in that way. And I know Herb's a great advocate for raising bugs so that we can actually make it all better together, but there isn't a magical solution to any of it. It is about us all working together to do that and to bring the changes in. Olga's raised tickets, Herb, lots of people have raised stuff and have gone, okay, I need to be able to do this. So going back to what we were saying, the more people can say, okay, this is what I want to do. There is now Learn WordPress, which will be doing videos and step-by-step instructions for other people who don't spend all day in it. And they're always looking for help from people who are not full-time developers, but people who just use it occasionally so that they can write things that will appeal to them. So I think, you know, if that helps, then that'd be great.
It's going to take a while for Andrew to move from the Classic editor in his website to the block editor, especially since he's got PHP that generates content and so on. And he's got other users who will probably also have the same issues.
I have users, they are not tech savvy, they have problems everywhere, but still they're fine with the block editor. Even if they don't know some things, they can do some things, and they are doing them well. And I think it's easier for me. They can make columns and something like this and don't bother me with this layout. It's a point for me. So it's really good for developers. Don't bother with such simple things.
Yeah. And I think for end users as well, because the number of people that previously have had to go to their developer to get something simple done, and then the developer has to find time to support them with that and then often bill them for it. And the block editor now gives them some of that control that they can get on and do it themselves. And then when they get stuck, they can come and ask for support and we can help them out and put them in the right direction. But I think, as Herb was saying, I think if you have a site that has been going for a long time and has a lot of custom work on it already, I think it's then harder for you to get to the block editor. But I don't think that's why WordPress have created the block editor. They created it for new people coming into the ecosystem.
actually, while people are using the block editor, they starting to see the power of themselves. Like, I can do this stuff and I can do it my own. It's great. Even if who was working previously on Classic Editor and was dabbling with HTML and struggle with it, right now it's much more comfortable for them.
Well, I'm after 45 years of developing, I've decided to hang up my developers a wrist rest, arm rest in that. I've got no interest in doing any development, and my site doesn't have any custom stuff apart from 2 cron scripts. That's it. So there's a lot of sites out there which don't need the block editor. Not everyone's into e-commerce and that sort of stuff and generating content from via PHP. There are millions and millions of sites out there which probably will never get updated to the block editor.
Well, I suppose when someone will give us those statistics one day, are they already there, Abba? What percentage of websites are on particular version or running Classic Editor?
I think they probably are. I don't know where they are offhand. So I'm just trying to see if I can find something on Core.
I mean, a lot of all the websites that are running WooCommerce are still using the Classic Editor because that's how you have to. That's what you use in order to define your products. That hasn't yet moved on to using the block editor. But I haven't been in the Classic Editor now for a while. I might go into the
This
code.
product, it's a different thing because a lot of data is customized and styled by WooCommerce itself. So you just put it in the right places and it's it.
Yeah.
But usually it's not working well with at CF Pro, for example. It's very complicated and had additional. It can have additional problems elsewhere. If you are using custom fields and placing them in a template. In general.
Bon appetit, Nigel. Show us again.
You what? Sorry?
Show us your meal again. Did you make that meal with the Classic editor or the block editor?
Oh, I don't know. It's kind of like Chinese style pork ribs, Jersey Royal potatoes, a bit of salad.
Yeah.
Delightful.
Well done.
It's a block editor with new blocks.
I'm multitasking. That's the way it should be.
Let's rush to the end and then we can all go and have something to eat and or drink. And who's watering the plants? Steve's gone to water the plants. Right, so for the few that have us left, thank you very much to our global community sponsors. Going the wrong way. Scott has got an advert still for Load Balancer. If you're interested in being a freelance PHP developers working for Load Balancer for their website, just contact Emma at loadbalancer.org. We had 11 new members join this month, and there are now 750 groups of WordPress meetups. So, in 2 days' time, we have WordPress Fest Live. Abba, who in our community are doing what for WordPress Live on Friday?
I think a lot of people who are there promoting it. So, and I think a couple of the people who have come to Pompey are speaking. So, but mainly it's about supporting Dan and team who've been very supportive of Pompey. And Dan's going to come and speak to us hopefully later in the year as well.
All right.
And really, does everyone know what WordFest is? If not, basically WordFest is organised by Big Orange Heart, and it's all about supporting the well-being and mental health of the remote working community. So obviously that's something that is important to all the meetups too, and we thought it was important to therefore show them a bit of support because they wanted to have some community partners in meetups. And basically, if you haven't got your ticket already, then they are still available. They are free. They do ask if you are able to give a donation to support the work of what is a charity, the Big Orange Heart, then that will be very welcome. But it is not a barrier to come along and hear the talks. The talks span 24 hours, starting on Friday, and they will be in different time zones. They'll also be recorded and on social media. So if there's a particular topic that you would like to go and listen to, it is WordFest Live. And we're just pleased to be supporting the mission really of that, and encouragement of supporting well-being in the remote working community. We're hoping that Dan's going to come later in the year and possibly with Kate and talk about some of the tips that we can follow to look after our own well-being as we're working from home or starting to go back into offices, and just generally in this COVID crisis with the pressure that's on us from clients or from employers or whatever, just thinking about how we look after ourselves in the midst of all that. Herb, is there anything else that you want to say about that?
Now you've got some people are being from the WordPress Portsmouth community going to be moderators of the chats or something.
Yeah, there are a couple of people who are doing that. There was a and I think last year January, a lot of the people from this team covered the AV and etc. So, but there's, if you still want to help, I think there are still some opportunities available. But more importantly, just have a look at the agenda, see if there's anything you like. If you can, promote some of the Pompey tweets, because it's nice exposure for Pompey as well, to be on there as a community partner, and hopefully we can tell people about what we do as a meetup. So there's a I think on the WordFest Live website there's a whole piece about Word at Pompey, and what we do, and hopefully also we'll get some speakers from it.
Good.
Which reminds me, if anyone wants to do a talk for us at Word at Pompey in the future, please do come and chat to us either in the Portsmouth Slack if you're not already connected on there, or using our social media channels that Herb's much better at telling you what they are.
What are social media channels?
Yes.
WP Pompey something on Twitter and Facebook.
They are all linked from WordPress Live as well, and on the WordPress Pompey website.
Right. Now, Paul has had some communication, and Scott, about some security talk that you had.
Ah, yes. Was that me?
Yeah.
I was reading the WordFest Live site and just getting distracted. At the Portsmouth Linux user group. Let's lose non-techie language there with abbreviations. We had a talk on security for WordPress, which was quite interesting because it took you through and walked you through a hack. I mean, from a techie point of view, I can see the flaws that were used to get through are not the high-tech ones, which makes them understandable. But yeah, it was about an hour's talk looking at, the vulnerabilities and how they can be used and so on.
And who did that?
I'm going to say Panda, because she works in the WordPress. No, she works in the security community, particularly interestingly and possibly worryingly enough, medical equipment, which is all too often not very well secured, it appears. But being in the technical hacking community, she goes by the name of Panda, and that's that's as far as I know on the names. I've got a Twitter feed, which is I think it's fuzzing_panda. I think off the top of my head, but
I am Panda. This will come as a shock to you.
No, we have seen, and it was quite a good outfit if if it was you.
Yeah, I can you know, I can doll myself up.
Yeah, fantastic disguise. But yes, I'm hoping to be able to tie that one down. Time zones would be the interesting thing. Although she does tend to deal quite a lot through all sorts of time zones with the people she deals with through work. So I don't know how much sleep she gets.
And Scott, there was the PHP Hans meeting as well on Monday, which I missed. It was on a similar subject, wasn't it?
I missed that as well.
Sorry, I couldn't find my buttons. There we are. Yeah, it was a good one. They're going to put it on the YouTube for PHP Hans. It was a little bit about all like the GDPR stuff and bits and pieces like that, but it was actually by the guy that wrote PHP Mailer and still maintains it. So I've actually spoken to him in the past and not actually realised that it's him I'm talking to, which was quite a surprise. But yeah, at the end of it, he gave us like a whole list of different sites, which I've got a massive list of that I went through, and it just gave you not like security vulnerabilities of your site or anything like that. It was more the what's the best way to describe it? If I can find the links, I can show you. There's one. So it's more like better ways to harden up your current infrastructure. So, for example, I ran it against my Red IT one, which I thought was pretty good, and it's come back with a whole list of improvements that I can make. It's not turned around and said, oh, you're vulnerable or anything like that. It's just giving you additional ways on top of it to harden up your infrastructure. So if I scroll down and find the first one, it's content security policy is not set in your HTTP header. So none of them are major holes. It's just a way of improving the security of what you're already passing to people that visit your site. And what I'll actually do is I will take that one because I did like that site, and I'll put that one in there. So that one's now in the chat. So I like that one.
Chat has been saved.
Yeah. Oh, and there's the other one. There you go. So those two. So they pretty much give the same results, but one of them's a bit more wordy than the other one. So if you want more detail and information on what's occurring and why you should be doing it, the first one's the better of the two.
I know. Well, we're a bit unsure what we're going to do in August at the moment. We could have a summer holiday, or we could have a meetup.
Right, everybody's been off for a year, so.
Right, so I was looking at WP Calendar to find out what was going on in other places, and lo and behold, they're going to stop running this business because they're having to pay money to meetup.com in order to get the information out, which is a bit of a shame. So we'll have to find the information about other events in another way. Right, and don't leave that because it's all out of date. So thank you once again to Red IT and 34SP for being our sponsors for an awful long time, and I look forward to seeing you again sometime in the future. And I'm probably going to edit this video down by quite a lot to remove all of this unnecessary stuff from because it's not necessarily related to WordPress 5.8. That's going to take me a while to do. Hopefully we'll do it on a slightly cooler evening. Any final remarks from anybody?
Thanks, Herb, really, for all that you do to prepare for these things. It is quite phenomenal.
Well, I didn't prepare that well because otherwise I would have known that the block widget editor does strange things when you don't want it to.
Well, it's better if it's like that.
And where's the fun? If everything is smooth.
Yeah, you need to see things not working as well, because everybody has problems. So it's, you know, it helps us, does help us see you have problems as well. You know? So.
Yeah, but it might be my fault, see, Mike.
No, I don't think so. No.
I think, well,
we have valuable information to share with developers.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's very useful to see it being done in the real world, actually, because, you know, it's all very well doing things and it all works all the time, but then you think it's something that you're doing wrong sometimes when you have problems. So you can see that it's not always how there are problems with the software and things like that as well. So
don't be surprised when I get the blame for percent of the things that went wrong when I analyse it tomorrow or the day after. I should have all the logs of the system and all the things I did.
You know, if I have a problem, it's not because I'm stupid. It's because something with UX, UI, something in it. I'm not blaming myself.
It's not Unix's fault.
Yeah.
If I have a fault, Herb tells me it's because I'm stupid.
I don't know. Have you got evidence of that?
Yeah, you said that I was worse than Susan.
When did I say that?
You know perfectly well.
Was Susan in the room?
No.
And Scott will be my witness. Scott nearly rang off our Zoom because we were having a domestic.
That is true.
It wasn't my fault, was it, Scott?
Yeah.
It's like watching an old married couple.
Yeah, but not so enjoyable.
Well, I did ask you if you'd taken a backup before you updated it, and you didn't know how to get your backups.
Always my fault.
Yeah. And I don't know how to do it. I've got some hosting on Red IT, but I can't remember.
I was just going to say, have you asked your host how to get your backups? In the control panel, down the left-hand side, it's under backups.
Yeah, but we didn't know what to do once you'd downloaded the backup, what to do next.
Oh, they're just tar files. Or if you want to automatically restore them, when you click on one of the backups, one of the buttons at the top is restore to this point.
Oh, see, there you go.
We can have a reality show, Red IT support line online.
Yeah. I've got enough trouble keeping on top of it now without doing live support.
A reality show.
Yeah.
Scott in fire.
Yeah. I wonder if I can change my background to just a fireplace or something.
Come on, Andrew, quick. Have Vesuvius going off behind you. Yeah, I'll tell you.
There it is.
There you go. Now, what is it that you've got behind you, Scott, on your new message? Because I didn't see that when we were on the call earlier on. I could see the Red IT, but I couldn't see the web hosting, domain names, and virtual private stuff.
Yeah. I've been working on the constant banner thing. I'm not sure I like it. It's better than this. How do I turn it off again? That one.
Anyway, we all have to feel sympathy for Scott because he's been told he needs to self-isolate.
Oh, yeah.
For how long?
Another 5 days, I think it is.
Just because you went somewhere and you got a bit.
Because I went out, yeah.
But the good news is, Scott, I heard this on the radio, that if you've been pinged, you can write off to HMRC and ask for a tax rebate.
I already get the tax rebate. I'm self-employed.
Oh, sorry. Not good news.
Yeah, £6 a week or a month or whatever it is for a home office. So
something like that.
Yeah,
we could buy you a pint then.
Have you seen the prices in the UK lately? I doubt it.
If you were allowed to go out.
Yeah, if I was allowed to go out, yeah. Coincidentally, it pinged me on Freedom Day as well. You couldn't make it up.
Didn't it ping the Prime Minister on Freedom Day?
He was already supposed to be isolating, wasn't he?
Oh. Yeah, I see Keir Starmer's got to self-isolate again as well, actually. He does it once a month, I think.
He just doesn't like seeing people, that's all that is.
Yeah, so thanks very much, Herb. Anyway, that's great. It's I appreciate all your preparation and everything else.
Any preparation?
Well, all your work, hard work you put into it. It's very appreciated by myself and I'm sure everybody in the group.
Right, so everyone go away, update all their sites to WordPress 5.8, have a play with each of the different things, find out what doesn't work. Let me, Olga, Abba and other people know, and we can raise the appropriate issues and see what happens.
Herb, you're a star. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Amazing.
Right.
Really amazing.
I'm going to click end now.
The slides that you've got, would we be able to work with you to adapt them for putting on the GitHub for other people as well?
Yeah. What do you want to do with them? Shall I?
Do you want to send them to Olga?
Okay.
Like that'd be cool with a start. And then we can work out from there. Thank you very much. It is, you know, it does need to be said that you put a tremendous amount of work into all the stuff, and it really is appreciated.
Well, I just did copy and pasting today. That's all I did.
That's more than I did.
Right, I have stopped sharing, haven't I? I'm going to press end and say goodbye and see you next month.
Stop recording,
folks.
Yeah.
Have a nice evening.
See you.
Yeah, good night, everybody.
Why didn't do that for me?
Yeah, good night. Bye-bye.
Olga, see you at Dev Chat. Bye.
Yes.